Okay, an apple and two oranges cost $2.30. Two apples and an orange cost $2.50. What is the cost of four apples and six oranges? Okay, this is very similar to the previous question, question 64. And if you haven't had a look at that question, if you haven't tried it yet, maybe that's one to try first. But just as a quick recap in that question, it was very similar. We were talking in that question about magazines and books, and we were given the cost of one magazine and two books, and we were given a value for that. And we were given also the cost of three magazines and four books, and we were able to use the difference to identify the cost of a magazine. And we did that. How did we had so we had this group magazine book. We had magazine book because this was we were given a value of 34 for this, and we were also told that three magazines and four books cost 76, and we rearranged so that we arranged the three magazines and four books like this. We did a group like this, which looks exactly like this one, magazine, book. We had a second group, magazine, book. Okay, so far this is the same as this. This is the same as this. So far we've got two magazines and four books, but the group needs three magazines, so we added a little magazine there. And we knew that that had a value of 76. We knew that this was 34, this was 34, and therefore those two together we could tell were 68. And we then could identify, we then had a value difference between these. This is, so 76, the difference between 76 and 68 is 8. And we could see that that must be the value of one magazine here. Okay, so we could give this a value of 8. And I said in that video, it was lucky that the difference was one thing, or it would have been okay had it been two magazines or something like that. We could have divided the value between two. We need to think about this when we are arranging this. This is a very similar thing, just maybe slightly more complicated, or it's a little harder to see what you need to do. So here we have an apple and two oranges cost $2.30. I think what I'm going to do is just use letters rather than write little squares and things. So I've got apple and I've got two oranges, and that costs $2.30. I might use another color just for, there we go. So this is $2.30. Okay, what else do we know? Well, we know that two apples and an orange cost $2.50. Okay, so two apples and an orange costs $2.50. Okay, right. Well, how could we use multiples of groups, or how could we sort of rearrange these things so that we can start to give a value to a difference? Now, what I'm noticing here is in this group we have one apple, and in this group we have two apples. So what I'm going to do is double this group. I'm going to draw another group just like this one. Okay, so imagine this is like a bar, all right? So this is bar 1 and this is bar 2. So in bar 1, I'm going to add another group that looks like this. So one apple and two oranges. And we know that an apple and two oranges has a value of 2.30. Now, why is this useful? Well, it's useful because now I can identify a difference in these two bars where the difference is one type of part, as it were. So I've got 2 apples in this group, in this bar. I've got 2 apples in this bar. So the difference is between the oranges. Here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 oranges, and in this group I've only got 1 orange. Okay, so the difference between this bar and this bar is 3 oranges. It's 3 oranges, and I can also give it a value because here we have $2.30 times 2, which would be $4.60, and here we've got $2.50. If I rearrange it, you might be able to see it better. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to redraw. Let's go back to that. We're going to redraw bars 1 and 2. Okay. Now what do I have in bar 1? In bar 1, I have 2 apples and 4 oranges. So I'm going to draw 2 apples together. Okay, and 4 oranges. Okay, so can you see how it's the same number of apples and oranges as in this bar here? I've just rearranged them. And I can also give them a value, okay, because together they are 2.30 times 2. Yeah, do you agree? Okay, and that's going to give us 4.60. So I know that the value of this, I'm going to make that hopefully just a little clearer. I'm going to take all that away. Okay, and there we go. So that was 2.30 times 2 equals 4.60. And that's the value of this bar. I'm just going to actually leave bar 2 as it is. So we've got A, so apple, apple, orange. Okay. We know that I'm going to do it this way down here. That has a value of 2.50. Okay. And if I draw, in fact, if I just, maybe you'll be happy if I draw, so this is like it's a bar. Okay. And this is like it's a bar. All right. And these two parts, these are equal, that's equal to that, that's equal to that, that's equal to that. And what's this difference? Well, this difference, what is it? The difference is 3 oranges. And we also have a value difference. What's the difference between 4.60 and we take away 2.50? Okay. That gives us 2.10. So that we know that these 3 oranges also has a value of 2.10. And because these 3 oranges are equal, all of these oranges, they cost the same amount of money. I now can find the cost of 1 orange. So 2.10 divided by 3, that is going to be 0.7. I'll put because it's 70 cents, isn't it? Okay, it's $0.7, but it's 70 cents. Okay, so we now have, this is the cost of 1 orange. So we're getting somewhere now. Okay, so we have the cost of 1 orange. What can we do? We can take away, here we have just 1 orange in this group here. We can, if we've got 2.50 and we take away the cost of 1 orange, which is 0.7, 0.70 or 0.70 as it were, we are going to get 180. And what is that? What's that leaving us with? That's the cost of 2 apples. So 180, if we divide that by 2, that's going to give us the cost of 1 apple. All right, can you see how I've always got to keep checking what am I working out the cost of? Why have I just done that calculation? So these are really important because we've got a question here. Is that what we want? Is that the final answer? No, not quite. What is the cost of 4 apples and 6 oranges? So for the apples, okay, we're going to do 0.90. We're going to do, or 90 cents, okay, times how many apples? 4. Okay, so that's going to be 360. And for the oranges, it's times 6, which is 420. And it wants the cost of them together. Okay, so we need to add those two together, and that is going to give us a total cost of $7.80. Okay. So that's probably quite a new idea. Just think about, remember, it's about, you've got a value and you can think of these as parts. All right. When we've always talked about equal size parts, we're just trying to find the difference.